So let's say there's a couple, a Christian couple who, through a lot of different factors, didn't parent well when their kids were younger, and now they're trying to get that back, and yet their kids are teenagers. They want nothing to do with God or even obeying the parents. What, how would you counsel and encourage that couple in kind of a difficult time than thinking of the more formative years?
Yeah, I think that that task of disarming rebellion on the part of kids, you got to think about it this way: a rebellious kid has reasons why he's rebelling. I mean, there's wind in his sails. There's content to that rebellion, and learning how to draw that out of him, and for a parent to be willing to sit down with a child and ask questions to try to understand that rebellion and not to defend themselves, not even to defend themselves based on their good intentions. Well, I understand why that bothered you, but this is what I was trying to do. Forget that. Just be willing to hear this child. 'Cause I think that problem you're describing is huge. It's in every single church, and there are scores of people with that issue. I notice when I do seminars, most of the people are people with kids under age 5, some kids 6 to 12, very few parents of teens, because the parents of teens are often already discouraged and cynical and have given up. So I think knowing how to disarm that rebellion and sitting down with a child saying, I, I want to give you permission, I want to invite you to critique our family, to critique me as a parent. And I want to hear you, and I'm willing to hear you, and I'm not going to defend myself. I want to help you to do it in respectful ways, but I want to hear you. And then for a parent to, I think, repeat to their kids what they're saying in their words is huge. So you say to the parent, to the kid, I think what you're telling me is, and you say it in your words so that they can sign off on it and say, yeah, that's right. Then at least they know they've been heard. But I think the way that process begins is by a parent being willing to humble himself and open up that dialogue. Now, that's not a conversation that's once and done. Those are months of conversation. We had a situation where my wife counseled a couple through this. 15-year-old daughter, terrible relationship with the father. She and her father had gotten in a scuffle in the course of things. He had accidentally swung around and knocked her teeth out. I mean, he ended up in jail for a period of time because of, you know. But they were able, over a period of about 18 months, to engage their daughter. And my wife was counseling them through this, but they were able to engage their daughter, ask questions, listen to her, hear her, make the changes they needed to make in family life. I mean, some of them were subtle changes and some were profound changes. Some were just subtle changes like, you know, when he prayed at family worship, he always prayed for her first and for, you know, as the chief of sinners. I mean, he didn't use those words, but she got the idea. And starting to pray for himself first. And maybe not even praying for her every day for her issues. Things like that. But over time, they were able to recover that relationship. Now, their daughter, the last I knew, had still not come to faith in Christ. But she was in college. She was living in their home. They had a peaceful relationship. She was even willing to go to church with them on Sundays out of respect for them. It was a marvelous restoration, even though she hadn't come to faith in Christ yet. Well, the last chapter of that story is not written. But I think it takes a great deal of humility and spiritual stamina on the part of parents to do that. And most parents will not be able to do it without counseling, without someone walking them through it. Because the things that got you to that state in terms of personality and the way that you engaged your kids just keep cropping up again in the course of trying to unload it. But if you get that picture that the rebellion I want to take the wind out of the sails of the rebellion. I want to stop being the cause of the rebellion. It doesn't make the rebellion go away, but at least I'm not the cause of the rebellion. The child's left with the fact, really, my rebellion is against God. It's not against mom and dad. Mom and dad have been able to seek forgiveness and acknowledge things and so forth. I think that's big stuff. I'm trying to get my wife to write a book on that because I think it would be a very great help to people, because I think there are scores of people in those circumstances.